Okay, so the thing between you and drinks are actually 5 contestants who have been working their hearts and souls out to get ready to present today. Now, it's not the only thing they're doing. They're also, all 5 of them running successful startup companies. So our job today is to give them our attention, and eventually you're going to give them applause and votes. But in order to keep that on track, we have a gong. Now, you know, I'm not Mark Cuban, I'm not Donald Trump, I'm not going to say you're fired, but I will say your time is up. And so we will enforce this with the less than subtle gong as a way to keep people on track. And it's going to be interesting because we got vision startups from multiple different categories of the industry. Each of them are going to get a bit of a time to come through. And then we have 3 August judges. None of them are from August Smart Locks. They're actually from different companies, so just happen to be great guys, who will be asking those eviscerating questions. And then they're going to have to figure out which of the 5 to crown the champion. In that time period, you also get to vote, because whoever doesn't get to be the champion gets an Audience Choice Award. And there's real prizes here. It's not just like bragging rights. Oh, yay, I'm the Innovative Vision, awesomeness, yay, pat on the back. Actually, that feels a little good after a long day. It's really about what you think they're going to do with it. We're going to go over the criteria a little bit, but really it's about your choice in that. And they get $5,000 and a free membership to the Embedded Vision Alliance for the next year. So these are real things, because real things are happening. They're building real stuff. We'll get to hear about that today. And in fact, I think just about every single company has a booth. So not only can you see them gush about what's amazing about their companies in front of you here in just a few minutes. I'm going to look here to Paula tell me when we can actually move into that space. But you actually can go out and touch and feel and experience just about everybody's technology. Well, maybe not touch, because a lot of it's vision-based. You can see it. At the very end, you're going to need your handsets, because we're going to actually try. Who was here? It was last year for the Vision Tank? A few hands. Last year we used a real calibrated applausometer to govern the Audience Choice Award. This year we're getting scientific. We're actually using a mobile-based voting scheme. So in about an hour, we're going to ask you to pull out your phones and text your votes to the ones you want to win for the Audience Choice Award. And those of you who've already set up botnets, let me know ahead of time, so we can actually if a single company gets 2 million votes, we know something went wrong. And we can check the DNS for where those packets came from later. And then with that, I'm going to ask the judges to introduce themselves here. So we spend a few minutes on that, and then we'll move into right away with the panel itself. So Nick, you want to kick us off?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Nik Gagvani. I've been an entrepreneur and doing vision-based companies for about 15 years now. I'm on to my 4th company. It's a lot of fun, and it's awesome to see the community growing up and to have all of you in the audience. I look forward to this.
Great. I'm Vin Ratford. I'm the Executive Director of the Embedded Vision Alliance. And like Nick, a serial entrepreneur with 4 startups under my belt. And great to be here, excited about the finalists.
And I'm Dave Rosenberg, and I just wandered off the tour. So I've only started 2 companies. A little bit. Whatever. I'm with GE Ventures.
Small firm, some of you may have heard of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is what I take away. Each team has 3 minutes to kind of dazzle you, more than I have lately with my PowerPoint or PDF skills. So Adam's going to kick it off, and I'm going to get out of the way and watch the time and prepare the gong.
Okay, let's start the timer. All right, hi everyone. My name is Adam Rowell. I'm the CTO and co-founder of Lucid VR. So one of the issues that we at Lucid set out to solve a couple years ago was we noticed that all the big companies, Google, Facebook, Samsung, they're all making virtual reality players. So VR is coming, 3D screens, they're coming. But the question that we want to answer is, given all these big companies making the players, making the headsets, how are we going to actually get content to put into those players? So we at Lucid, we decided to create the world's first 3D consumer VR camera. So there's lots of cameras out there, your phone, et cetera, that can take regular 2D pictures, but the world's moving towards 3D, and we want to make sure that people can take 3D pictures when all these headsets become mainstream. All right, so how does it work nowadays? So nowadays, if you want to make some 3D content for your headsets and you want to share it with your friends, it's really, really hard. Either you have to go out and hire a production company to make it, or you have to make your own rig, stitch these files together yourselves. So the real key to the VR market is making it as easy as possible. You want to make it so that you can have a consumer device with one click. You can capture your 3D content. You can stitch it all together. You can do all of the processing all in real time, and then you can send it to your friends. So Lucid VR, we've accomplished that. We've actually created the Lucid Cam. This is a real product. We've made thousands of these units so far. We're shipping them already. And it's basically a dual 4K sensor camera. So with one button on this camera, you can start recording, you can capture content in full 3D stereo, and through our app, you can actually upload it to Facebook, you can upload it to YouTube, you can share it with your friends. And so for the first time, consumers, without any post-processing, without any tech savviness whatsoever, can create and share their own 3D content. So where are we going with this? What's our long-term vision? So right now, we're focusing on building the camera. Like I said, we've created thousands of these. We're shipping them to our partners right now. At the beginning, we're focusing on the prosumers. As time goes on, we're going to move into that consumer market. But there's all kinds of additional information you can get on this camera that you can't typically get. We got depth information. We can do augmented reality. We can add additional items into the scenes that you see. So we're really trying to open up this VR market and this augmented reality market to see what consumers can actually do. We don't want the content to come just from a few select players. We want to get 3D content out there into everybody's hands and then see what happens as they upload it and share with their friends. Thank you.
Adam, thanks so much. We're going to pass it to Nik to ask the first question.
All right. So by the way, I think we're going to make that part of the pitch to take you off track. So I think every contestant has got to do that.
Yeah,
Right, John?
sounds good.
Just beat him on the head with a mallet. It'll be good.
Yeah, we can do that. So I think you answered one of my questions, which is you're targeting the prosumer market. You're shipping already. How many units have you sold?
We've sold about 1,000 units so far. We've shipped a couple of hundred. We've manufactured about 500. I'm going back to China in a few weeks. We're going to manufacture a few thousand more and fulfill all of our pre-orders.
Okay. And are you always going to continue going direct to consumer, or do you have a distribution strategy?
Good question. So we have a contract with Best Buy right now. We haven't signed it yet, but we're in negotiations with them. We've hired a partner to handle our Amazon distribution. And at the same time, we're handling direct to consumer through our own website.
So would it be fair to say that you are a GoPro for VR?
That's one way to put it. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So what keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up at night?
Yeah.
Hardware is hard. I mean, I've learned that the hard way. Yeah, I'm a software guy. My background is in signal processing. I was a radar guy before this. We have a hardware team. So I came into this. There are so many little things that come into play when making consumer devices. I mean, we've shipped out a couple hundred units now. So I always worry that I'm going to ship out a unit that's got some capacitor issue or some other issue out there, and we're not going to be able to fix it. So far, so good, though. We've had a few minor software things, but we can do over-the-air updates for that.
So can you talk a little bit about the team around you and how how you're going to build a successful company rather than just the product?
Sure, yeah. So our team right now consists of 10 people. We have half of those are the engineering staff, and half of those are business and marketing. Our engineering staff is primarily software in-house. For our hardware, we've worked with a partner, Wistron. They're one of the big ODMs in the world. They're like a $20 billion company. So they were one of our biggest investors, and at the same time, they do most of our hardware design, and we work with them for some of the industrial design as well.
What is the viewer to make it 3D?
Sorry?
How do I view this in 3D?
Good question. So this camera here has Wi-Fi on it, so you can basically live stream this directly to your phone. You can actually see the 3D content straight on your phone. You can put it on a Google Cardboard or put it in a Samsung Gear or Google Pixel. We work with any of the players. Our idea is we want to let people create their own content and get it out there. We don't want to keep it from people, so pretty much any player you can think of, Oculus, we support it.
And how are you doing your manufacturing in China? Do you have your own factory, or you have a bespoke factory?
Good question. So yeah, we work with Wistron. They're a big ODM. We use one of their factories that they have. So they did the tooling for us. They've set it up. I've been out there a couple of times to inspect it. But basically, we'll set it up. We'll do a run for about a week, create a few thousand units, and then they'll take it down again. And then when we need to do more units, I'll go back and we'll repeat the process for now.
And how much money have you guys raised?
We've raised about 2.6 million.
And does it work in the dark?
It's got the same Sony sensor that most other typical cameras have, so the same performance you'd have on GoPro or on many other consumer cameras. It's about the same quality.
Is there another vertical besides consumer that you think is interesting?
Oh, absolutely. So at the beginning, I think we're going to focus on the prosumer. There's a lot of production companies out there that are trying to figure out how to use VR to their advantage. So right now, the way to do that is that they're hiring companies like Gentil or Matterport, these really big, expensive camera companies. So we're basically going after them and saying, hey, you can buy this camera for a few $100s. Our camera right now is retailing for $399 or $499. You can go buy a few of these. You can do all your testing. You can make some pretty good 4K content with just this instead of having to hire one of the big guys. And then after that, we want to get into augmented reality. Given that our camera can collect this depth information, how can we create software APIs that leverage that? And how can we build a business around the software side in addition to the hardware play?
What do you see as your competition now and in the future?
Good question. So right now there are a couple other companies, mostly out of Asia, that are doing similar products. None of them have any big traction, and none that are competing in North America. I think the biggest barrier to entry right now is getting a good stereo calibration. It's a much trickier thing than you would think. All right.
Sorry, we're sort of over the
That's
questions, but yeah. Great, thanks Adam, thanks
All
so
right.
much. Everyone
Thank
give him a
you
round of
very much.
applause.
Thank you.
So prosumer grade VR capture. Now that's going to be very cool, 'cause especially as it starts to roll out to things. Now the next company that comes up, Imagry, and they didn't buy a vowel, so it's going to be a little bit different here. They dropped one of the E's. But Nitsa's going to come talk to us about what they've been doing in embedded recognition. So with that.
Hi, everybody. In the last 2 days, we've heard a lot about many great ideas for visual applications, but we don't see a lot of them in the market, and the question is why? Because it is very, very challenging to develop an embedded vision software that works locally on the end device. And that's exactly where Imagry steps in. Imagry developed a visual recognition brain that can be embedded in any kind of device, so businesses can build their application and focus on their application by using our technology. So our engine works, as I said, in real time. It is cross-platform. We support both Linux and Android, and you don't need to send the data to the cloud, so there is no problem of privacy or latency. In addition, we have a very large-scale engine. In classification, we have thousands of categories. In detection, hundreds of categories, both of them in state-of-the-art accuracy, all of it from the end device, not from huge data servers. And we work on real-life objects. The object does not have to be well-centered or well-lighted, and this is an example for a very low-resolution body-worn camera that we worked with one of our customers, and you can see that we could still understand the objects on the street. Although the fire truck is yellow and not red, we could understand it. And we can add a new object automatically in a few minutes without the need to retrain the engine from scratch. So in under 20 minutes, we can add in the classification up to 20 categories. This is an example of difficult task of food classification that we added in a few minutes in one of our meetings. How does it work? We have a patent-pending technology, deep learning one, which is comprised of 3 main pillars. First, we are using reinforcement learning. In the learning phase, we don't need to take all the data, but we can use and learn while giving the images. We developed a new technology, which we called bit technology, which allows us to run 16 times faster. And until now, we collected and annotated hundreds of millions of images, so we have an extra large data set. And to use our product, it is a very simple process. You enter our web tool, you design your engine, you decide which categories you want to have in your specific engine or add new category if it's missing, and you receive an SDK, and then you embed it in any device that you like and build on top of it your application. And the business model is pay per device. We're focusing on automating products. The main 2 verticals that we're now focusing on in our pilots are smart devices, home robotics, and automotive. And we have an amazing team to do it. We are 15 people until now in very diversified qualification. We have researchers, mathematicians, data scientists, developers, and business people. And in these days, we are concluding our Series A round to have the enough source and funding to take our vision to the next step. Thank you.
So what's the cost to buy the platform, and then what's the per unit charge that you get for it?
Okay, so it depends from different use case to another. It's volume sensitive. The cost of our platform is around thousands of dollars a year, but it depends on the number of units that the customer wants to purchase. So it varies. It varies.
So help me understand, sorry, what's the revenue model? It's a licensing model that's based on how many detections are done or how many devices it's on?
How many devices? Because we ship an SDK and all the classification detection happen in the device. It's not shipped to the cloud, so we're not following the...
So is the primary target audience application developers that want to use your recognition engine for other purposes, or do you see it as something that the device manufacturers are going to want to put in their device?
We are looking for businesses, not mainly for developers, but for businesses that want to purchase large quantities of SDKs, and both device manufacturer in the various verticals that we are aiming at.
So when the application senses an object and reads it, it's local.
Exactly.
Does it ever go to the cloud such that you could then improve via machine learning or something like that?
It can go to the cloud, for example, for updates, or if you want to push a new object, but it doesn't necessarily need to go to the cloud for the daily classification and detection. So it's a design issue.
So it's clearly a paradigm, and that you've chosen a paradigm to be on the device versus in the cloud. Clearly, you have competition from cloud providers that, the Googles of the world that have launched their own offerings to do something similar. So what kind of lifetime do you imagine your product will have with that kind of competition? And how would it be able to maintain competitive differentiation?
It's a great question. So, of course, we watch closely about the Googles of the world and what they are doing, but currently we see that we are using different methods from the method that they are using. So that's how we see that we have competitive edge by using the reinforcement learning. And last day, there was the lecture of Adam, who was our CEO and co-founder, about auto-expanding classifier. This is a new vision that we have for our company in the future. It's something that is really new to the market, so we believe that we have a few more technologies ahead.
Can you talk about how much money you've raised and what you would do if you had more, and how much more you would want?
Okay, we raised until now around $1 million. We are now concluding a round of $6.5 million. We want to focus after this round on one of those vertical and really get and commercialize our product in much more in the vast market in this product, and ahead we'll need a lot of...
So you're not doing iOS, I'm guessing, because of the complexities of working with Apple right now? So you said you did Android and Linux?
We don't support the Apple, the OS now, but we can do it. It's a design issue as well. It's engineering.
The design issue of your application or on the iOS side?
No, on ours.
You mentioned Linux. Do you know the name of the Linux penguin?
No.
He has a name. It's Tux. For those of you that-
Tux,
Somebody
yes.
had to ask a ridiculous question. I know this. Do you know why it's a penguin? Because Linus Torvalds was bitten by a penguin at a zoo, and he made that the mascot. I'm not making this up. You can't make that up.
Google it.
Google that. Yeah.
Google it.
Tux the penguin. I promise you.
I know it's tough.
Do you have any paying customers today?
We have them. They're paying pilots. It's not in the market yet, but they're paying for the pilots.
What's the first vertical you're going after? You said there's a number of verticals.
In the pilots, we have pilots in two verticals. Like I said, smart devices, which is home appliance and home robotic assistant, and the automotive. But we are planning in the next few months to focus only on one of these verticals, because we see that it's not feasible to focus on both of them these days.
So if you take, so let's use the automotive. So in theory, the car is sort of processing what's going on, and then it's all local. What would be the means by which to get that to the cloud, such that you could use it in other cars, so that you could detect, objects in the roadway or whatever? Does that work out? I guess there's a point. Is when can I make this device connected? I want this to be connected. I guess is where I'm coming from. I like that you've got all this other stuff, but I really want it to be connected.
It can be connected. It's a manufacturer decision. It can be connected, but think of a situation when you are in a tunnel or in a place that you don't want to be connected, or you don't want someone to hack your car. So not all the time you want to be connected, but if you want to get the metadata and to be connected, it's possible. And
do I have to go back to the SDK to send updates and those kinds of things? So if I wanted to update the app on my device? Then
you will connect. You will do it over the air.
Okay.
Can you talk a little bit about the footprint required, the scale of devices? I mean,
Yes.
is this 12 cores and 3 amps of consumption, or what does it actually require?
Okay, so today our model size is between 15 to 20 megabytes, and we are working on CPU, quad-core CPUs. We're working from a mobile phone with our new technology, and we require 50 megabytes of memory. With our bit technology, it will be much faster and much lower consumption.
So smartphones today, maybe not all smart cameras, but that's on the roadmap kind of a thing.
Yeah, we have it. Okay. It's working on a smartphone.
Okay.
today.
Is there an ideal use case that you would love to see be the one?
That we will be in it.
Well, what's your favorite use case for this?
Depends who you ask, but my favorite is in the automotive.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much. Now, we've heard a lot about focus and vision, and we're going to continue with this kind of bad vision puns, but they make really good company names. So Machines with Visions would like to, Anthony's going to come up and talk to us about ways you can keep your eye on the road.
Hello, so I'm Anthony Ashbrook. I'm the founder and CEO of Machines with Vision. So lots of self-driving cars are being tested today. They require varying degrees of use of driver intervention. So our company is helping companies that are developing autonomous vehicles reduce the amount of driver intervention, and we're doing that by improving localization technology. So what's localization? So this is one of the primary needs of a self-driving vehicle. Where is the vehicle on the road? It needs to know that to sort of travel from A to B along some sort of known route. We call that localization. So the methodology for localization is sort of well established. I mean, we've seen a lot about SLAM in the last couple of days. So essentially, you have a vehicle with lots of sensors on it, probably LiDAR, cameras, and so on. Those sensors are measuring the local environment, storing it in a map, and simultaneously working out where that vehicle is relative to the map. So it's well established, but you'll see from this example that most of that data is coming from the roadside, so sort of things like buildings and lampposts and bridges and so on. So, well, isn't that all good? I mean, what's the problem? So this is the problem, that actually the roadside structure isn't always visible, and even when it's visible, sometimes it's not that useful for localization. So weather can be a big problem. It can block LiDAR and camera data. But also when you've got heavy traffic, you've got sensor line of sight getting blocked. And even if you can see that data, things like repetitive structures or like very variable structure can actually be very, very problematic for localization. So how do we solve that problem? So, well, what can you measure close to the vehicle that can tell you where you are? So our idea is to put a sensor on the vehicle that actually looks at the road surface, and we measure that in 3 dimensions at high resolution. We actually use that as a fingerprint. So every piece of road is actually unique and can be a fingerprint for localization. So that's great. So the problem is the road moves quite fast. So up to 40 meters per second. And conventional imaging is not very good at capturing data at sub-millimeter resolution at that sort of speed. So we've developed a high-speed 3D imaging system for this application. And it works by using what's called a neuromorphic sensor, or an event camera. So this is a new type of imaging sensor that rather than capturing images, it actually measures visual change, and it does that with extreme low latency. So we effectively, we project a structured light source onto the road surface. We view that through a neuromorphic camera, and that gives us very, very high-speed data to be able to capture the road at sub-millimeter at 40 meters per second. And that data is available even when the roadside isn't necessarily available. So this is our idea. We'd like to give the sensor, away to the automotive industry, maybe at low cost or even for free. In exchange for the data. So we really want to build a database of road surfaces in high resolutions because we think that's a really great resource for improving vehicle localization. So today, working with a number of companies, pre-trialing. That's the team. Thank you.
You'll have opportunity to bring that up with the other pieces. I warned you.
Gosh, that went fast.
I warned you, yeah. High
I
speed,
should've
low
looked
track.
at that
Yeah, that's the clock right there. So
Thank you.
we've got minutes here.
I'll start with how much is 40 meters per second? Because, us stupid Americans with metric system, I'm kidding. Are the fingerprints really unique? How unique are they?
Yeah, well, actually, statistically, they are unique if you sort of think about it. But in reality, it doesn't have to be entirely unique because you knew where you were 100 milliseconds ago. You've got an estimate of where you are now. So really, you're just trying to resolve an uncertainty in your position. So you need to be unique within a certain patch. And when you're building the model, if you see repetitive data, you can actually just remove that, mask that out from the data set. So you can sort of guarantee your data is unique.
And where do you store the, you must need like a storage array to capture and collect all that data. I assume that it's like a truck behind the car.
Yeah, no, it's pretty compact. So it's, it's 24K per meter, which was a lot of memory at one time. But yeah. So
I'm gonna call Carl Sagan. Billions and billions. Right? Yeah.
The whole of the UK is 1 terabyte, so it can fit on a disk. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very sparse data, very compact. So, yeah.
What about I'm sorry. What about when there are no roads?
Yeah, so this is an on-road solution. You know, it's not an
So I
off-road.
guess Range Rover won't be putting this in their cars, huh?
Well, they do put cars onto the road, but it's not an off-road solution. I mean, if you think about how many journeys happen on road versus off-road, I think if we can nail on-road, we'll be good.
Good answer.
Help me understand this. And so this is a SLAM application,
Yeah.
right? What if you slam into a pothole? How does it map that?
So,
Which did not exist previously, so does that work or not?
yes. Essentially, we build up a database, and as if we see new data, that fills in the data. That's how SLAM works. We sort of, we update the map.
You make it as you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who's your target market? Is this a product play, a component play, a service play? What are you thinking?
Yeah, right now we're working with a number of different companies in the autonomous vehicle space, so ranging from automotive, tier ones, mobile robotics, so delivery robots, and then some specialist applications, so things like automated valet parking is an interesting area. This is the last mile of autonomous driving, where they have specific needs to work indoors in parking lots and things like that.
Do you guys make the sensors?
So no, so the neuromorphic sensors come from a number of providers. So there's 2 in Europe, and then Samsung, I believe, are developing a neuromorphic sensor.
So we could go start the same. We could. Yeah, we'll do that.
So we have patents. So
That's our competitor.
so we file patents around 3D reconstruction from event cameras with structured light.
So speaking of the team, talk about the team, because I saw, 3 guys on a hill in
Yeah. So the bit
drinking, or what were they doing?
drinking whiskey. so we're three founders. We're a year old. We're very new. We're a year old. We're funded by the UK Centre for Connecting Autonomous Vehicles and a little bit of angel funding. Within a year, we've basically proven the technology works. We've got about 30 customers, of which 5 we're starting to do pre-commercial trials with. And we're out fundraising in the next sort of 6 months. Been talking to investors for about 6 months already, sort of courting, looking to fundraise in the next 6.
Is the trigger the car manufacturer? Is that who you need, or do you need the OEM to get on board this?
So, I mean, I think you'll know that there's tension between the tier ones and the OEMs in terms of who's going to own this technology. So actually, the OEMs are developing the technology, the tier ones are developing the technology. We're talking to both of those organizations. I think for us, validation outside of automotive is quite important, because technology has to be reasonably mature to go into the OEMs.
So the picture you had a big box on the side of the car.
Yeah,
that's a no-no. So
that's the final product.
That's it?
Yeah,
okay, I'm in.
That's a prototype.
Box in every car, chicken in every pot.
Yeah.
So what's the path forward? How do you get it? Yeah.
Yeah, so we're working on a miniature, smaller version of that. It won't be a product. It's like a pre-commercial platform that our sort of pilot studies can use. And then summer next year, we're going to bring out our first version of the product. We actually don't want to be a sensor company, because sensors get commoditized. So for us, it's about the data. So right now, we have leverage to get the data, because no one else knows how to do that. But we want to sort of open all that up, but have got enough data to actually create a critical mass.
Is there a limit to how fast you can drive the car? Can you use it on a Formula 1 car on a track and use it to self-drive the car?
Yeah, so we're working very closely with the neuromorphic companies, because they can tune their sensors for different sort of latencies, these various trade-offs. So at the moment, one of our first customers is actually outside of automotive. We're working with Deutsche Bahn in terms of doing positioning of trains, and they're running at 200 kilometers an hour.
So I could go on the Nürburgring and have the car drive itself and set a track record. I can do that, right, with this?
Well, so I think, it's Formula E and Robo sort of race are an interesting sort of areas to maybe demonstrate this. Yeah.
What about is it going to be used for maintenance and those kinds of things? What about trains, for example, like you go to Japan and you could do it? Is that a use case?
Yeah, so we'd like to open the data up. So we want to use the data for doing localization, but that data could be used for all sorts of applications. So maybe an API, or other ways of letting other people get value from the data. Things like looking at if you're looking at the road, you can see if the road's damaged, or if it's got ice on it, and maybe send that data back through the cloud to other mapping services.
All right, with that, Anthony, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Continuing the tradition of dropping vowels, Grace's going to come tell us a little bit about what's happening at PerceptIn as it relates to another slice of vision, looking at 3D in some more interesting ways. So we see a theme in 3D and VR, AR kinds of things coming through quite a bit here today.
All right, so my name is Tsai. I'm with the founding team of PerceptIn. PerceptIn is a well-founded startup, and we have been around for about a year now. So at PerceptIn, we work on scalable solutions for hardware-software integrated solutions for 3D perception and action planning. This is a core technology for a lot of future consumer devices. So we focus on this core technology, and we work with our customers to integrate this technology into their final products. Our current customers include industrial and service robot makers, VR, AR device makers, and VR gaming companies. We're also targeting for self-driving vehicles and drone companies. So at PerceptIn is one of the first startup with hardware and software integrated solutions for SLAM, simultaneous localization and mapping. All of our hardware has calibrated and synchronized sensors. All of our hardware are ready for mass production. Software-wise, our solution is one of the first solution with SLAM running on embedded devices. We have two teams, one working heavily on research and development on latest 3D perception action planning algorithms with different type of sensors. We have another team working on hardware design and integrating our solutions into our customers' final product. So as of today, on February 15th, we released our first solution, a visual inertial module. With this first, so we have an SDK to run SLAM with this module. With this first solution, we attracted more than 40 companies to come talk to us to integrate our solution into their final product. The first integrated product will come out later this year. So later in the next few months, we will present our new solution, which adds a low power SoC on top of the module, which will run our embedded SLAM algorithms on. And later we will further introduce a new module with depth sensor on top of it, so we can enable more powerful functions like dense reconstruction, and that will enable a lot more different applications. So with that, I would like to thank you for your attention. Thank you.
That was high speed, low drag. Gentlemen, take it off.
So this is interesting, and I believe the Kinect is still to date the fastest revenue-generating vision-based product ever. So my question is, what is your path to revenue? You discussed a whole bunch of applications. It looks like you're a service provider with some hardware capability. You're not quite sure where this is going. Where's the money going to come from?
Yeah, so we work with customers. Our customers are business. So we do have a first product, and this is more like a teaser app that we can send it to our customer. We hope they buy them, but we can also give it them for free. But we hope them to use this to evaluate our algorithm and to come back to tell us, what is missing in here, and what can we actually work together and get this into their final product.
So maybe to build upon that, if you had to pick one application, one vertical, that you had to go after yourself, what would that be? Rather than waiting for your customers to tell you what it is. So we would definitely work for, we were targeting for action planning as well. So with the perception and action planning, a lot of SLAM algorithms usually just being very passive. You get data and you just get localized and mapping. But actually a lot of times you can actively tell it where to look and where to get more data to create a better map. Or maybe sometimes you are looking at a place where there's no features to map, maybe you should turn around, and then that's where you can gain more information. So if we combine this with action planning, then that will make the perception easier and hopefully better.
I have to be honest, I'm not sure I understand what it does. So the use case is for vehicles and such?
Yeah, so usually we work with customers with devices that can move itself, or like service robots, industrial robots. That's a good use case. But without the action planning, you can use this on VR, AR devices as well, like a head tracking algorithm. In self-driving vehicles, depending on how you want to control the vehicles, right? You can And you can give certain inputs for its action part, like turn right, turn left, slow down, something like that.
So I want to build a little bit on what Nik said. So what you're holding there is really an evaluation module, not the end product.
Yeah, not the end product. This is for us to talk to our customers. And this is like more like a teaser app, so like a sample, so you can test it on. And we also wanted to sell it to individual developers who actually just need SLAM and doesn't know how to do it or just doesn't have the time to do it, and they can build on this. A good example is like gaming, individual gamers, and they wanted to build a game, but they don't want to do the SLAM, and they can plug this in and then get the pose out of it, and then can do stuff.
But I would imagine that would lead to rather a lengthy evaluation process, so I'm a little bit struggling to understand the path to revenue here, again, back to Nik's point earlier, and also, what the business model looks like when you eventually deploy this thing.
Yeah, so when we deploy this thing, we will have license fee per unit, of course. And it also depends on how much features they want on top of what we already have. We can talk together and then say, sometimes they say they want a little bit more, or maybe in a more challenging environment, and we have to work our algorithm towards that, and that we will talk, and we will have design fees and stuff on top of that.
I like your approach of giving out the device, but what is the, is there a category vertical that's interesting to you, industrial versus consumer versus automotive versus?
Consumer is definitely fun and usually has more units. Industrial is also one of our target because we have more controlled environment. That's where we can make SLAM work the best, where we can actually outperform a lot of people, and we can actually control the action. But if you go to consumer device, sometimes you don't control like what's in their house and stuff. So they both have advantages and that, yeah.
So maybe to summarize, at least this is my takeaway. I think you're trying to be the Raspberry Pi instead of the Kinect, which focus on one market, and you're kind of trying to say, I'm building this thing that a lot of people can build a lot of stuff on. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Great, thank you. Now we're moving to our third and final contestant from Always Innovating. Gregor's going to serve up some interesting things that maybe you haven't thought about before. How's that bad for a bad pun to set you up?
Hello everyone, I'm Roger Federer, the best tennis player in the world, and I have a huge problem on the tennis court. On the tennis court, all my balls are in. I'm #1 in the world, so all my balls are in. But sometimes the umpire, he thinks that the ball is out. So definitely this is a problem. So let's take a look at this small video of Fabio Fognini, a player from Italy, which has the same problem at Wimbledon last year. Okay, so you understand how critical this problem is. So I'm introducing in-out. So in-out, no, this is not a burger. In-out is a small device that you can put on the tennis net post, and in real time is going to tell you if the ball is in or if the ball is out. So if the ball is in, green light, small beep. If the ball is out, multiple light, red light, multiple beeps. So you see, in real time, you will know if the ball is in or out. So basically, in 45 seconds, you can take this device, install it on any net post on any tennis court, and you will be able to record video. So very similar to a dub GoPro, you can record HD video. You have all the statistics that you see on TV for all the tennis players. You are getting the same, and you will be able to do it on the iOS, on the Android app. And obviously, the key feature is really the line call. So you are not playing tennis? No problem, don't worry. This device can actually work for any sport. Any ball sport, you can really use the in and out device. So I mean badminton, which is very, very close to tennis, but volleyball. Volleyball is very similar to tennis, and we can definitely do the same. And all the team sport like soccer, like handball, like basketball, definitely we can do the same and get all the very useful statistics on this device. Okay, so what's my vision for this computer vision product? My vision is that if on every Sunday you are going to a tennis court, you are going on a soccer field, oh non, 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 j'ai pas fini, non, 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 c'est pas possible, non, il faut que tu me laisses plus de temps, non, 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 non.
Désolé.
So every Sunday you need to have
Have
the
some more
in-out
chances
device
to make your point with the judges.
in the
Ask
storm
those
bag.
questions. It'll be great. It'll be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, you addressed my main question, which is I hate tennis, but I love your product. Stunning contrasts here.
Yeah, I think it'd be great at a beach volleyball competition myself. As I understand it, I think the product actually records the video, right? So
Yes, like a dump GoPro, you still have the HD video, which can be very useful if you want to.
so you could plant one of these on a beach in Malibu and basically record video.
Exactly, and in 45 seconds, you can put this on the net post or on the post of the beach volley.
And when you say any ball sport, you mean golf, for example? How would it work in golf?
For golf, I mean, it would be a little bit different, but I mean, definitely tennis, beach, volleyball, this kind of sport where you have a line and you want to know if the ball is in or out. Plus, you have all the statistics. So for soccer, it might be definitely very useful, but it's more the statistic of the players that you want to figure out.
So your business model is selling the device?
Yes. So
You make money by selling the device?
Yeah. So definitely the idea is to sell the device, and the device is $199. So for $199, you can buy this in-out device. You have also a premium service in the cloud, so you can upload the video, and you have all the statistics you want to analyze everything. And we have something extremely also interesting is that we have a strategy recommendation. So I know that Vin, you are playing against Nik every Sunday, and every Sunday Nik is beating Vin.
See, I told you.
So Vin, for $195, I can give you the best strategy to beat Nik. Because I have an artificial intelligence algorithm that has analyzed the statistic. No, wait, Nik. So $199, the best strategy to beat Nik. Nik, now you are very worried. I can sell you for $195 the best strategy to beat Nik.
This is great.
So this
So
is
here's
really,
where my
You
head
can help
goes,
my tennis
right?
game, but maybe ruin my marriage.
What's the total addressable market on this?
I mean, this is like the GoPro. I mean, basically, I consider myself as the smart GoPro. So for me, this is really the sport camera market.
This is interesting, but I think you're going too low, and that's the problem. I don't know what referees make on an hourly basis, but that's what you should be charging.
Okay.
What's the gross margin on a product like this at $199? I mean, Nick's got a point. Maybe you should go to $399 or $499. I mean, tennis players, they spend money like...
I'm not sure I want to...
Just look at their barbell.
I don't want to tell the numbers, but we have a very good margin even for the very first batch that we are doing. We are talking about like 2,000 units. I mean, this is very similar, I guess, to the situation of the first company. We have a very, very good margin, and we have also this idea that we can even go further with this iPod iTunes model. Meaning iPod, this is the hardware, and also iTunes that you want to sell some in-app purchase in the application.
How many have you sold? How many have you sold?
So we are right now doing the production in China. I was in China last week, and we are going to ship like the first 2,000 units. We had so much pre-order. I mean, it was completely crazy because people in the tennis, they were completely keen about this device. So we are going to ship in the few coming weeks.
So are you the team, the only guy?
Yes. So this is a very, very, very funny. You have the whole team in front of you, me, myself, and I. And I have developed a computer vision chip. I have developed the casing of the device. I have developed the kernel driver. I have developed the algorithm, the computer vision algorithm. I'm doing the marketing. I'm doing everything. And I even play tennis, which is very, very, very important.
You are your own user. That's good.
Exactly. So, every day I'm on the tennis court, Stanford Center Court. You can come and you will see the device, and I'm playing with the device.
So when are you going to beat Roger Federer?
Excuse me?
This is going to make you a better player, right? So
Yeah, definitely.
So table tennis in China, would that be a good market? I mean, can you imagine how many people play table tennis in China?
Actually, I got a few requests by email. The guy wanted to know if the ball, is touching the table just on the corner. So I would say it would be less useful, to be honest, but still, I mean, something possible. So really, this idea is that any board sport can be handled by this device.
It's so ridiculous it might just work.
Don't say that to any tennis player. This is not ridiculous for tennis player.
So what would success, I mean, you said every sports bag would have one of these things, but let's be realistic for a moment. In the next year, what would be a reasonable goal?
In terms of number of units?
Yeah.
I mean, Sony has developed actually a sensor in the racket, which is really, really bad, but I mean, it was very interesting. And they sold like 50,000. So just 50,000 for $199, the same pricing. So something that is not useful, something that you plug into the tennis racket. So only the tennis, not any board sport. And they managed to sell 50,000. So I have an expectation of
Sony's got much better
like
distribution. So what's your distribution plan?
So in terms of distribution, this is only online. So we don't want to go to retail. I mean, online, our website, I mean, with the buzz that we managed to do, I mean, business, Bloomberg Business Week, CNN, The Times, I mean, we already got many, many things. So definitely only online.
Yeah, it's somewhere between Fitbit and Ring doorbell, right? In terms of the adoption, Fitbit was all direct, and then Ring was the same thing, and now they've, you know. And so at some point, do you hand over, which part do you hand over to someone else? The game, the tennis game, versus the chip, versus the...
Probably
how do you scale?
The most interesting part is the computer vision. So we think that we have added a lot of expertise in the computer vision. So definitely to do this in China, the hardware is probably very easy, but the computer vision is something that is very, very unique.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm up here doing my thing, and every now and then I get close to this. He's like, no! I'm like, he's going to throw the racket, hit me in the head. All right, so right now the judges are in the midst of basically going through and figure out who gets the grand prize. And let me kind of review what the prizes actually are as we go before we move to the other piece here. So the grand prize in the overall mix is the judges pick out, and that's going to be 1-year membership to the Alliance, $5,000 cash prize, and my company, Argus Insights, is going to provide them with a bit of kind of market intelligence consulting along the way. And the audience choice winner will get 6 months membership to the Alliance, 1 free admission to the Deep Learning for Computer Vision with TensorFlow workshop that's coming up in July. And then I'm also going to help them out with a little bit of that. Because what I do is, my company, we measure the market. We measure the Internet of Humans. And that lets us understand how each of these companies is making a splash in the overall embedded vision market kind of scenario. So as these guys are doing their thing, you're all going to get to do your thing. And so we're going to figure out which company is, whichever company wins the overall prize, we're going to take them out of the loop. So don't vote now. In fact, let me take this away. No, they're going to, okay, we're crossing the streams, those of you who remember Ghostbusters. But, so think about who you want to vote for first and second place, because you get to vote twice. Once, 3 times Vision Tank, and we're going to vote once. We're going to figure out who the judges pick as number 1. You're going to vote for the other 4. And then we'll, in real time, be able to see who bubbles to the top. Okay? I'm going to put the gong down, because I think we're done. We need to gong me. So how are we doing on... We're doing meters? How many meters per second? So they're doing the math, and I grew up in Arkansas, so if I get above 10, I have to take off my shoes. And so we're getting close, I think. And you know, I think what I'd like to do right now is actually give all 5 presenters a round of applause for taking the time today. And each company had a different take on how to use vision to transform a market. And some are further down the pipe than others. Some are, you know, basically buy today, if you'd like, and others are partner today, and others are, well, call us in about 6 months, and then we'll have something to talk about. And that's part of the joy of the ecosystem that comes together here at the Embedded Vision Summit, as we all together try to figure out how to leverage these cool and new things to make lives better for end users and also help the rest of us create, you know, better than average economic rents, otherwise known as profits. Guys, how we doing? You're between these people and beer.
Sorry, we're trying to solve a really hard vision problem here, so.
Do we have a winner?
Yes. You want to go who it is, or do you want to?
Well, yeah, we'd like to know who it is. Who's the winner?
The winner is Lucid.
Lucid. Excellent. Round of applause for Adam and Lucid. So we're going to wait a little bit, and now we're going to do the voting piece on the other side. So what we'd love you all to do is actually SMS your vote to 650-600-9016 and use one of these 6-digit numbers to kind of vote. But don't vote for Lucid. They've already won. You can't win twice. I'm sorry. And as these things start coming in, this should start actually doing something in real time. We'll see. Is that? Oh, yep. We're seeing it's working. And that's our event planner going, yes! The technology worked. OK, someone didn't pay attention and voted for Lucid. We're coming in, so pull out your phones. Please keep them on silent, unless you absolutely have to hear that ringtone from Metallica. And we're going to see how this comes into play here with the audience. Oh, we're seeing it. It's quite a race, actually. This is kind of fun with the updates. This is a lot better than the applause meter. It's more calibrated. Going once. Going twice. The polls are closed. And it's clear that in, out is the Audience Choice Award. And can you say some enthusiasm? All right. So Jeff, would you like to come present these enormous checks and things to the winners? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jeff Beer, the founder and guiding vision behind the Embedded Vision Alliance and Summit. So you want to do? Adam, please come up and accept for Lucid. This is about those Kodak moments. Some of you remember that company. I have to explain to my kids what that's all about.
This picture better be in 3D.
Well, actually, where's the Lucid? Adam, are you doing this in 3D? All right. You have to do this in such a way we have to see your face, too. That's part of it. There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for participating.